Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this Monday morning. We love to start the week off with Panhandle Outdoors on every Monday because we got a great show lined up. And first of all, though, weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today, they're calling for it to hit 90. So hopefully it won't stay 90 too long. It's going to be a high of 90, about a low of 78. The water temperature right now is still staying at 82 degrees. Man, it's been leveled up about 3 weeks at 82 degrees. It took a little dip in the beginning of red snapper season, but it's back up to 82. And let's take a look now at a Monday moon forecast. Every Monday I can take a look at the moon. I want y'all to help me out here now. I can't figure out which one's going to be the full moon on June the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. They all look the same. Jeff, which one's the full? The second? Three. All right, Jeff's calling 3 the full moon. He's got better eyes than me. So Wednesday, so right now you need to go fishing today, tomorrow, and this weekend is going to be excellent. The weather holds out. And about 2 weeks from now, of course, will be the new moon. 2.5 weeks from now will be the new moon. So moon phases. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery, looking at June the 1st. And strong tides all week long. We're talking about 2-foot tides, folks. We're looking at a high this morning at 8:39 and low at 7:05. Now, I want to tell you something. Looking at the whole month now, you're going to have a few neat tides. But when you have a high tide in the morning like this is ideal. If you get up at the crack of dawn and if you red fishing and all, that water's being pushed up in those flats and all, it's excellent. And then it's going to start falling out pretty strong, so you back up a little bit as that water's coming out and they're feeding. It's really some good tides to fish on this week, okay? Now, the marine forecast will be south-southwest about 10, and we'll get the river readings tomorrow. Let's go ahead and take our break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So glad you're with us this morning. We're starting off the month of June. Can you believe May just flown by? So here we are. A lot of things happening in June and outdoors. We'll go over a lot of them later. But let's look at a couple of pictures we got sent in over the weekend. I love this one. This is just a typical, some young folks out there red snapper fishing, and it's just great to see this. This is on the left here is Kenzie Harrington, middle Tracy Sanders, and Olivia Sanders. That's just a really good job and a good picture there. Now this next one is just fascinating. This picture here, this is not set up anything. This is a real picture, and it took place down here in Old Town, Florida, which is, if you go down Highway 98, the old route to Tampa, Highway 98 across the Swanee River is Old Town. It comes from the Knight Farm, K-N-I-G-H-T. It's sort of a controlled environment. It happened May 20th at 2 p.m. This 7-year-old doe, and they have her name Junebug, and they fed her by bottle since she was born. Junebug had 6 fawns. That's right, folks, 6, and you see them right there. It had four bucks and two yearlings. Well, all of them yearlings, of course. 2 does and 4 bucks, and they average about 3 to 6 pounds. Isn't that fascinating? And they say every time she gives birth to at least twins every time. So those genes need to be duplicated and put out in the woods and all. Okay, next picture. How about a nice boat for sale? I know the guy that owns this, Michael Turner. This is as good as they come. A Hughes 21 foot. It's a 2006 model. It's a Red Fisher. It's loaded. It's been babied by Michael Turner. He's asking $27,000 for it. This is just a fine boat. And if you want to get into here's another picture of that Red Fisher 21 footer. It's been well cared for. Michael Turner, and get a hold of me and I'll give you his number and all. I don't have it here with me. Okay, fishing at the river. I just think it's just a little classic picture. Nothing fancy, anything. It's just what we do. Fly fishing on the river. Bill Buchanan sitting this in, and that's what a lot of us are going to be doing this month. So, including myself. Okay, I want to show you one more picture too, because we're going to talk about scallop season. It's around here before you know it. That second column from the top, scallops on the left. You see, it's going to open this month. Opening in June the 27th. Going to close September 25th. So that's weekend. You know, I always started. You know, the last several years they've started opening up before the actual July 1st. It used to be July 1st, but now they do it a weekend before. So that's one of the things happening. Okay, I was going to mention the other night I went to the NRA banquet. is over at the Shriners Club every year, and Greg Williams runs it, and he gets a lot of help and a lot of great sponsors. I just want to give a shout out to them. They do such a good job. When I say doing a good job now, I'm not just saying that, passing on a compliment. I was in there looking around and all the stuff they give away and auction and everything, and the sponsor board. And I've got a little video I'll show it either tomorrow or the next day. But I just want to start off by saying they raise over $100,000 in this local chapter here, led by Greg Williams of the NRA. I mean, you're talking, that leads the state of Florida. When you're talking about leading the state of Florida in fundraising, you're talking about the Tampas, the Jacksonvilles, the Pensacola's, a lot bigger areas than we have. But this group right here is hats off to this group, and I just want to compliment all those girls and guys that work so hard for the NRA. It's a great organization. You're talking about a great voice in Washington, D.C., that's the NRA. And when we're talking about less than 10% of people hunting now, that is even more impressive. On the other side, we have the recreational, the RFA, the Recreation Fishing Association, and it's just great group of people. It's just not as powerful now. If we had an RFA banquet now, we wouldn't be raising near that kind of money. But all of us outdoorsmen that do a lot of fishing, and a lot more fishermen and hunters, it's amazing at the difference in the clout we have. The NRA in Washington, D.C. is very strong. The RFA is getting stronger, but I want to recommend to you, if you want to get we talked about this the other day now when Travis Bassford was here. He would go to these meetings with FWC, and most of the people there were these commercial fishermen, and they were getting their way with what they wanted. Just a small segment of recreational. So that's your voice, is to join the RFA if you get a chance and really become active in it, and it's going to be, you're going to start seeing results if we do that. So, but I just want to give a shout out to the NRA. Okay, a quick question now. I was down at Howard Creek the other day, talking about the store and talking to Jamie, and I said, I'm going to let you and your wife fuss about this. I'm going to take a commercial break, and I'm going to come back with an answer. What's the most popular freshwater bait for brim and shell cracker? Okay, is it going to be earthworms, wigglers, catawba worms, red worms, or crickets? You got those 5 choices now, and I'm according to what they sell there at the store right there down in Howard's Creek, right in the middle of Howard's Creek. So let's take this break, and I'm going to come back and tell you the answer to that. Welcome back. During the break, Jeff and I were talking about that, and he made a good point now. He said, I asked him what he thought the answer was, and he said 3 of them he thought were the same when you say earthworms, wigglers, and catawba worms, and red worms. Actually, and they are the same, but they're different sizes. You just say worms as a blanket, but you got to break them down. And he also guessed crickets, and I thought it'd be a good guess. The answer is, according to Jamie, at the store there in Howard Creek, he sells more wigglers than anything. So wigglers are just overall, and that's about a medium size. The red worm is a really small one. The earthworm is a really big one. So the wiggler's sort of in between, and they just wiggle so much. And a lot of us like to fish with those wigglers. So, but I always like crickets too. Okay, I want to mention one thing. Student feedback. I got it right now here. I mentioned this last week. At the end of the course every year, I get student feedback. I started this a long time ago, and just let the kids write down. They just take their own paper and write down the sort of a synopsis of the year and what they've learned and what they enjoyed, and maybe it's what they haven't enjoyed. And I sort of put it all. Enjoy reading them. It's a great feedback, and I've been, like I say, I think it's helped me be a better teacher over the years. But I wanted to tell you the top 4 things that they really enjoyed throughout the course of the year. And the reason I want to tell you, because maybe you, as an individual adult, can sort of pass it on to some more young people all around, because I only handle about 200 something right here in Mosley, and there's a lot more of those kids in the Panhandle. So let's look at number 1. Probably listed, and most of all, what they enjoyed was archery. The kids really enjoyed archery. Most of them, over 90%, I took a survey, over 90% of the kids have never pulled a string back, and they just got a kick out of it. All different levels of kids, as far as kids who've never been outdoors, and even kids who have been outdoors that really just hadn't done archery yet. So archery is good. So if you can get a kid started in archery, just a little bow and arrow, a little basic beginning, that'll be something good. The other thing right behind them was fly fishing. They get a kick out of fly fishing. And you set out a hula hoop and all, let them go back and forth, and what a great place to fly fish in the Florida Panhandle. You're talking about freshwater and saltwater. You're talking about rivers, lakes, and ponds, and we got them all right here. So fly fishing is excellent. In fact, We got Father's Day coming up, and even not just for the kids and all, you might have some grown-ups in your life who might enjoy it, want to get into fly fishing. So you got, you had those two. You had fly. I tell you something else that kids really enjoyed too, and was setting up camps. A lot of these kids have never set up a tent, so they setting up the campfire and all, and just setting up the tent, and it's amazing. Again, it's something our generation takes for granted. Back, we grew up setting up tents and all. They actually cannot set up a tent. They cannot set up a campsite, and it was just fascinated me as to what they couldn't do that. So they enjoyed fly fishing. They enjoyed archery and setting up camp, and the other one was just learning how to throw a cast net. Just basic throwing a cast net. It's not hard, and you can start a little kid off. I don't know if you remember one of the first videos I ever did in here was Whitney when she was about that high throwing a little bait net. And so, and I've seen pictures on Facebook recently where some of our graduates have been throwing cast nets. I get a kick out of that. So those things you can do this summer, if you got some time with some kids, grandkids, kids down the street in the neighborhood or something, and some fun things to do other than just playing ball. And playing ball is great because we all do that too. But that's some things you can work with young people on, okay? Now, so that's Pokio. Also, write down, don't forget, license-free. According to FWC website, I checked it again last night. Licensed freshwater license-free is June the 2nd through June the 10th. So you want to put that on your calendar. Also, saltwater license-free for weekdays June the 2nd, which is tomorrow. I thought those dates were different than what I saw originally, but I double-checked it again. All right, now, we're going to set up this little 2-minute video, and we get all kind of things. We're going to try this a little bit different. Now, it's going to come off my iPad here. It's not a video that I did or someone else did. It's coming off the website of the National Wild Turkey Federation. I'm going to have Ken Perriman come on tomorrow and talk about it. This sort of will precede this and set it up for tomorrow. We'll talk a lot about conservation and habitat and all, and only a small group of people trying to save it and work on it all. So this particular one, we're going to see. This is really the first time that we've tried it, so we're going to see if it works and all. So.
Imagine a world where he didn't exist. Imagine a world where this splendor was fleeting memory. Imagine a world where this was lost to this. Imagine a world where this was the only entertainment he ever knew. Imagine a world where this was a thing of the past. It's closer than you think. People like us, lifestyles like ours, some would say are a dying breed. It's hard to argue when you realize that less than 1 in 10 Americans hunt. Yet wildlife, wild places, and that lifestyle we love are all dependent upon us, and only us, for survival. This stops now. We stop now. Every volunteer hour, every membership, every donation, every single dollar, we stop it now. They depend on it. They depend on it.
So that's, we just take a shot at that. That's really interesting. I felt like you would enjoy it. It really impressed me. And it's a funny thing, we always talk about we as outdoorsmen, we do more to save the habitat than all the vegetarians and all the people that don't like the outdoors. They don't do anything to save it, but so it's our responsibility, and we'll have a chance tomorrow to they're going to start a Bay County chapter of the National Wild Turkey Federation. I know we have a strong chapter over in Holmes County, a strong chapter up here in Calhoun Liberty, and it's really important. That's just one segment of outdoors. That's just turkey hunters there, but there are a lot of, you look at it, Mexico Beach Artificial Reef Association as far as doing underwater stuff and setting up the habitat and all for fish and all. So it's a combined effort as a whole umbrella group of outdoorsmen like us, and I love all of them. I want to support all of them. So Ken Paramore called me a while back. Now he's got some time now since he's retired to do something like this, and he and Stan and some of these other folks are trying to put it together. We had a group way back in the late 80s and early 90s. They sort of fell apart and all, but we're going to try to start getting it back. So I'm going to have him on tomorrow and talk about it. So I just want you to see the importance of the habitat. We'll talk about that. It is so important. Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Now, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Let's take a look at our fishing game forecast brought to us by Mark Cowart. Mark's number is 832-6000, and we're looking at only one time today, and it happens like this on occasion, from 11:54 to 1:54. So check out that time. If you take a 2-hour lunch, you'll be in great shape today. There's a 40% chance of rain, so you should be, 60% of us should be in good shape to do that. Now, one of the things, I always try to pass on a tip on a weekly basis, and one of the things, first thing about this time of year in May and June, especially in June when you hit the road more often as far as going to the river and going to the boat landings, make sure you check your wheel bearings in your trailer. It's every year I pass people who, I can see what outside the road. It seems like I'm doing passing less people doing that. And I don't know about your weekend. My last couple of weekends it's really been tied up, but more. I told Gail last night, I said, the next 12 weekends, I'm going to do some outdoor activities. This Saturday, we're going on an annual fishing trip on a Seminole Wind with Billy Archer, and that's just a lot of fun. People say, hey, I want to catch two snapper. Well, doggone it, that's fun catching two snapper and being with a bunch of guys catching them, and we're going to catch some other stuff too. So we're really looking forward to it. So, and we got, like I said, we got the scallop season coming up, getting ready for it, and trout season is really kicks off now. They're in the post spawn right now, and also getting ready for red fishing. These morning tides are excellent for red fishing. I called Bill Allen the other day, and we're going to just take off soon. And if you just see a blank 30-minute show and Jeff doing the talking or something, let's call Coach Chester's going. Jeff, can you handle that? If I go red fishing one morning during the week, I like to go during the week in June. All right, now also, so the June calendar, we're going to talk about it later on in the week, but June is really full of all kind of stuff. I talked on showed this the other day, but I want to talk about it again because you look at different, the Spanish already going through, but it's still summer around, of course. The king bite is good, and the king bite's good almost every year. But what's really been exceptional on the spring run, and I personally talked to our pier, I personally talked to the Navarre pier, and I also gotten some reports from around the Pensacola area and the South Walton area and all the way to St. George Island. So I put all these reports together. I don't really think anybody probably get as many reports as I do. I know a lot of people can focus on one area, but I've just been blessed to get some just really good information on a regular basis from people who are out there and people I can depend on. And it's been a unanimous consensus of opinion that the Pompano run has really been one of the best runs we've had. So if the spring run is that good, that tells me the summer fishing for Pompano is still going to be excellent. So again, I want to go over, people always ask me what you fish with, and sand flea is a natural bait. If you can catch natural sand flea, it's fun catching them, it's fun fishing with them. But I've caught more fish the past 2 seasons off the fish bites, the lime green fish bites, than I have the actual sand flea. I still put a sand flea on there because it's hard for me to get away from it, but this right here, the fish bites, and I'm going to try it this summer. I'm going to go over to St. Augustine and go by their factory and visit with those folks over there because they hit a home run when they got this. And when it first came out, I told you the story. So fish bite, and it comes in different colors, and pink is a good color too. I put that on sometimes. Okay, so that's good right there. And then if you're artificial fishing, of course, I've always held up these jigs and all, and I don't do as much artificial pompano fishing as I used to. You sort of got to walk all up and down the beach and all, trying to find a hole. And really, if you can locate them with these jigs and all, they're fun to catch. And also the silly willies. I used to fish a lot with the silly willies. I don't fish with them much anymore now, but Brad, and they work. Brad has them down as sunjammers. The silly willies come in different colors and all, and they're really good on different color here, orange and then silver and pink. They come in those three colors. But and I got something called a Mr. Pompano here. This just looks good. This caught the fisherman, not the fish. And I really haven't fished that much with it, but it makes a lot of sense. You put a sand flea. It's got a little plastic sand flea you put on the head there. Now, the 2-hook rig, I've talked about it over and over again. This is, I don't know if you can see it that way. It's a 2-hook rig right here. It's actually I used to tie our own rigs and all, but it became so popular making them. It's so much easier. You find out if you spend less time putting stuff together, more time fishing is what I found out over the years. In the younger years, I had more. It seemed like I had more time to put this stuff together. So those things here, and then of course the floats and all on here. You give different floats, okay? And I've started. They came out a few years ago. Here's one here. And what those like that little yellow float right there, what that does, and the theory behind it, it holds the bait. Okay, you fish on the bottom rig. Remember, you use this little 2 ounce, and according to how that's a little 2 ounce pyramid, and you put it at the bottom. You can see, you can hook it up that way. But what I found that it sort of holds, that little cork will hold the bait up a little bit off the bottom, supposedly, theoretically, so the fish can see it more as they swim along. They're sort of looking on the bottom, and that bait is sort of held up. And I sort of like that idea, and so I fish a lot with these little cork stuff. But again, be versatile, be willing to swap around. If one thing's not biting, try something else. If you're not throwing out, if you're throwing out right there in the shore, and not catching, just keep throwing different areas and all. And you'll get them located. Once you get them located, sort of concentrate on that area. Okay, that's your little lesson on pompano fishing. We got to get out of here, and what a way to get Monday started here. I appreciate you watching the show, and as always, I ask you to do something really good for your fellow man and enjoy your life. And the more you do for a fellow man, the more you're going to enjoy yourself. So you have a great day and do something good, like I say, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.